right. Well, just a couple of things before we officially launch this session. If you want to share your visual with us, you can turn on your camera. It's not required, but we do love to see your faces. So if you're comfortable with doing that, please feel free to do so. We also ask that you keep yourself muted throughout the first portion of our session. Just as our speaker is speaking, we want to be able to hear them without any background noises that might be distracting. But we do want you to know that towards the end of the session, we'll offer a little Q&A time. So at that point, we'll have you turn your microphones on and then you can ask your questions as you have them. But if you do have any questions that come up during the session, you can also feel free to type them into the chat box and we'll keep track of those and bring those up at the end of the session. A couple of other things for you to note. We will be recording this session and we will share it with you at the end of our summit. So that way you'll be able to go back and check out any key pieces from this session that you want to go back and see, as well as other sessions that we have throughout the course of this week. So those will be helpful for you. We also have some other features which I'll tell you about at the end of our session as far as ways that we can keep connected. And I also just wanted to let you know that this summit is brought to you from Participate Learning, and I believe a lot of you are familiar with our company. We bring exchange teachers to the United States. We promote global learning and dual language opportunities. And we created this particular community called the United We Teach community. At this point in time when things have been so uncertain, especially with challenges and changes to come with the new school year, we wanted to create a space where everybody could join together, share what they're going through, share strategies that they've used in the past that have worked, and ideas for starting off this new school year. So that's the whole point of what we have going on this week. And it's been amazing so far. We're in day 2. We've had just a wide array of great presenters and strategies and ideas that have been put out there. And we have so many great ones to come. So we're really excited that you're here with us. And with that said, I'm going to get ready to hand it over to our session presenter right now. You all know that you're here for a session with Jake Roberts, and Jake is a teacher, 3rd grade teacher at Stallings Elementary, which is in the US in Union County. Prior to this, Jake, you were in the UK, right? So he came about, was it 3 years ago?
This is the end of my 2nd year.
Okay, so this is the end of his 2nd year. He came to teach with Participate Learning back a couple of years ago, and he's just a phenomenal teacher, really engaging with his students, so many phenomenal ideas. I know you're going to enjoy his session and everything that he has to share with us today. So without further ado, Jake, I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
All right, sweet. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. Please tell me if you cannot see the screen once I've shared it. So I've got it up here, but I don't know, right in the chat or something. If you can't see it, I think everybody can see it.
Yes.
Actually, now, all right, we can see it. Cool. That's great. Let me move that over here and then go to present. Are we all good? Someone shout out and tell me that you can see this.
Yes.
Because I now can't see your faces. Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So my presentation is called Save the Trees because I wanted to come up with a catchy title. I am a big environmentalist. I, heavily encourage that with my kids and my children in my class. I think one of the biggest differences that I found coming to America versus England is the amount of resources that seem to be used in paper form. And I'm a big believer in using other means other than paper to get kids to do the work and more interactive ways. And hopefully ways that you are going to find save you an awful lot of time and are really useful in the classroom. So let's have a little look. A little bit about me. My name's Jake. I am a Participate teacher in my 2nd year in North Carolina. This year I was really fortunate to win the Participate Learning Teacher of the Year award, which is phenomenal. My mum was very proud, so that made it worth it. I'm originally from London, England. Born and raised there, loved it there. Very expensive to live there, can't live there, so had to find somewhere else to live. Best decision I ever made to come and teach here in the US with Participate. Back in the UK, I was the technology lead for my school, so that kind of was where I got the ball rolling on using technology in the classroom, and I've kind of just carried it on as I've come here. And in my spare time, I also coach for a soccer team out here as well, which I also enjoy. So we're going to look at loads of different things today that hopefully you guys will think are cool and interesting and things that you want to try in the classroom sooner rather than later. And I think, you know, given that the situation that we're in right now, these things are even more useful than usual. We'll look at some things called Clever apps, which for those of you that don't know, Clever is an application that is installed in most schools around here, but if not, I'll talk to you about that. And then a couple websites that I use as well. So why did I want to do this? You know, I felt coming to the school in the US that I saw the amount of printing that was being done, and for me it was like unnecessary printing. Things that could be done online weren't being done online. And so I had a little look at the research to see how much we're printing in schools. And I'm not going to read you, you know, the information on this slide. You can see it for yourself that there's an awful lot of paper being used, and in my mind, we don't need to use nearly as much paper as we're currently using. So how can we solve that? One of the biggest things that I think we can be is part of a positive change, part of a movement that can kind of bring us into the 21st century, but also looking forward to future generations and how we can help with that. So the best way that I have found is utilizing technology, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Also using Google a lot. I've seen teachers struggle and toil away for hours creating or making things and then printing them off when, you know, if they had used Google more, then they'd be there much quicker. And training your kids. I was really fortunate this year. It was my first year teaching third grades. It was my first year that I ever had laptops with my kids. So I was trying out all these different technology aspects, all these different applications, all these different websites, right up until the point we were out of school. So it then meant that when my kids were out of school, they already knew how to use everything. And that really was beneficial to me, where a lot of other teachers really struggled because their kids hadn't used computers. Yeah, I love using computers. I think there's so many positive benefits to it. So let's have a look at some ways that we can avoid using paper in the classroom and using technology more. So first app that I'm going to talk to you about is available on Clever, but you can also just use it on your browser. It's called Quizzes, and I think this app is incredible for studying and for grades. Giving grades is a big part of the curriculum here in the US. I remember in third grade this year, at the start, I was giving, you know, weekly grades, and that would mean hundreds and hundreds of sheets getting printed off for kids to write on, only for them to be graded and then not really done anything with. So I wanted an alternative, and I stumbled upon Quizzes here. This is going to drastically reduce the amount of paper tests that you take, and it increases their engagement, and it will save you time. You can get instant feedback. You see down at the bottom left here, this tells you exactly the spreadsheet of who got what question right, how many they got right, kind of trend here. You can see question 3, they didn't do so well, so that tells me that's what I need to focus on next time. When you click on an individual student's name, it will also give you the response time. So it tells you whether or not a kid was guessing or they really struggled with that question. It's really useful. It links with Google Classroom, it links with Canvas, it links with Twitter. So it's really user-friendly to use. To help you with that, I created a little quiz that I thought maybe we could do so you could see how interesting it is. So I'm going to go over to here and press play live. I've created a quiz already. We're going to make it a test-based one. If they were revising, maybe you could do a classic one. We're going to do a test-based one here. And we are going to not shuffle the questions, not shuffle the answers. We're going to continue with that. So either on your computer or preferably on your phone, go to joinmyquiz.com and put in the code just underneath, and we are going to do a quiz all about participate. See how much you know about participate. I'll give you like a minute or so to get in there, and then we'll start. See, Amanda is already in. I'm gonna copy this code as well and put it in the chat. Not that I know how to put it in the chat. can't do that without stopping sharing my screen. Yes, I can. Sweet, there we go. We've got 3 people in, 4 people in. Quick, let's all get in. I'll give you till, I don't know, 12, 11, 12, 12. By getting in, you'll be able to see how this will work for your kids. I created this quiz myself, but you by all means do not have to create it by yourself. There are hundreds and hundreds and possibly thousands of quizzes already pre-made, pre-registered on here. Loads to do with any part of the curriculum that you need. I use these an awful lot. Sweet, seeing lots of people join in. Cool, I'm gonna give us like 30 more seconds and then we're gonna start. Ooh. Hi Colleen, I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so if you're on your phone, you're going to see the answers come up on your phone. If you're on the computer, you'll see them on the computer. My screen here is going to show the kind of like the leaderboard, and it shows you the leaderboard in live time. I really like that because sometimes you can play kids as groups and they make it into like a competition, into a game. That's pretty exciting. I'm going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sweet. Okay. There's music that goes along with it, but you don't need it. But you'll be able to see the questions and you'll be able to see the ones that you get right. So immediately you can see people getting their questions right. They get more points for how quickly they answer, so you can figure that in if you'd like. It doesn't count that when it's tallying up your kind of report. Look, Michelle clearly knows a lot about participation, on a hot streak there. You can also look at the questions as they're being taken. Gives you live data feedback, 22 correct, 6 incorrect. Tells you the average time it took them to answer the question as well. It's really good. I really love it. And you can see people raising through. This version that we did here, this was just the test version. So this is purely question, 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 answer. You can do a revision version, and a revision version will have like power-ups that they can put in. So the kids like that. They have redemption questions where they can go against things again if they get it wrong. They've got memes that intersperse in between it. So it's like, it's engaging and exciting for them. Gives you a little thing up the top here, tells you how many you've done. Normally when I have a kid that's finished, I'll ask them to go through the questions and check the ones that they got wrong. At the top here tells you the accuracy percentage. So you can give your class like a target. You say, right, hey, we're doing this one. I want us to try and get 80% accurate today. So they can kind of watch it in real time. Go. Didn't make these questions easy. Sorry about that. For those that really know, participate. Not that I would have known them, but that's always what happens when the quiz master creates them. So we've got just a couple more to finish. Scrolling down here. I'm going to end it in about 30 seconds. I say that, I'm not ready. Or you can also only show the top 5. If you don't want to discourage those kids that aren't maybe getting so right, you can just show the top 5 as well. Sweet. I'm gonna hit endgame just to show you what it means. When you hit endgame, it's gonna give you a cute little kind of flashcard of how people did. Tells you class accuracy, your toughest questions, longest question that they took. You can also, if you want, you can email all your parents, so you can sync this with their emails and it gives the parents instant feedback. And then when you are finished, if I come out of this and go back to my reports, here, if we go to an overview, there you go. It tells you exactly which questions people got right. It tells you how long each person took for each question. It tells you, I don't know, for this one, for example, we really needed to know what states operate in. Not Christina though, because she got number 1. Well done. So that's that. I really like it. I think it's a really, really, really good alternative to paper pencil tests. Yeah, I think that's good. Can everybody now see back on my presentation screen? Is that back? Can someone shout out and tell me?
Yes, it's back on.
Sweet, awesome, cool. It comes with an app as well. Like I used to pretend to be other teachers in the school. So I'd log in on my phone and play as other teachers in the school whilst we were playing as a class. And my kids really liked that, to be like, oh, one day they thought they were playing the principal. One day they thought they were playing the assistant principal. They really like when you play along with them. And don't show them any mercy either, like you're going to win. Next app is called Freckle. That's another app available on Clever, but it's also a browser-based website that you can go to too. This, I think, is really, really useful as an alternative for extension sheets. I know that back when I was a kid, if I or someone else was to finish early, we'd just be given another sheet to do, and that would fill that gap of time. But giving someone another sheet is great, but again, it's another use of paper, which is not my biggest, which I'm not the biggest fan of. So this is a really good app as the alternate. They log on and they can do it for reading, for math, or for science, and it kind of gives them like a base test to test their level, and then from there on, it will just give them things that are trying to fill the gaps in the current grade that they're in, or give them work that's from the next grade, so pushing them a little bit further. It's excellent to be like, hey, you finish this, go on here for 10 minutes, go and try this out. You as the teacher can also set lessons as well, so that's great. Next one here is an app called Prodigy. This is a website that my kids absolutely adore. For those of you that play video games, this is pretty much like an RPG, a role-playing game, but they have to answer math questions throughout their quests. So they create their little ones and they cast little spells, do little math problems, and they love it. It's got even my most reluctant mathematicians to be on there nearly every day, especially when I set things for them. If I go onto my login page, it's not going to have anything right now, but when you sign up for free, again, you can create a class, and then in your class, it'll tell you, it'll give you reports of your students, how they're doing, how much they're using of it, what their progress is. You can give them a placement test. You can give them a test if they've got a certain grade coming up. You can assign them individual lessons. So it kind of all works similar to how in-school apps would work, but this one is fun. The kids enjoy it, and like I've seen them play it by themselves on the weekend. Like I haven't set them anything that's just what they want to do, so they like that. Yeah, there's that. Okay, my biggest thing, and the thing that I think sets me apart as a teacher, is my use of the internet. I find it really hard to justify myself going and making a resource when I know that I can find it online. Quite often, I will go and look and find that resource online. So there's loads of different websites that I use, but I thought I would show you a couple of them. Reddit, if anybody's not heard of it, this is a really good kind of like messaging platform website. I imagine it like Google, but kind of like Google organized into different folders, and it's got folders for whatever you need. I highlighted a couple different subreddits. Those are like the folders that I think you guys will find useful. r/teachers is like a general site hub messaging board for teachers. So you'll find people from all over the world there, mostly from America. And it'll be people providing support, people providing ideas, people providing resources, but also talking about, you know, the issues affecting teachers right now in the world. So that's a really good place to go for advice. Teaching UK is similar. It's just happens to be the subreddit for teachers from the UK, but still advice and resources there. Same with teaching resources. These other subreddits, though, are websites or Reddit subreddits that I use in the classroom. To help with creative writing, I use the subreddit writing prompts, and usually that's user submissions of a paragraph that will kind of start off a story for kids to then carry on with and to kind of write an ending to. Those are really good. I think they work better the higher up you go. Sometimes they're a little bit wordy for younger children, but higher up you go, those are great. Imaginary landscapes. This is probably my favorite subreddit for class. This is pictures and paintings and drawings and photoshopped images of imaginary places, otherworldly, places not of this earth, that my kids use all the time for the basis of their writing, all the basis of their reading. I have a writing exercise where we look at some of these pictures and I go and ask them to find a book that they think this world would exist in. They love that, and I can't stress it enough. Photoshop battles is really good. It's got a load of cool, funny photos that people have photoshopped. I use those for writing prompts as well. Next website here, and this website might possibly be the most important site that you would use this year as we enter into more remote learning. Calm, for anybody that doesn't know, is a mental health app. But what's really cool is with a teacher email, it's free for a year. So you can use it with your class all the time. They have daily mindfulness videos, which help kids kind of regulate their emotions. It helps with calming children. It helps with kind of giving children a sense of routine. We used it every day and they loved it. It's also great for chucking on in the background whilst they're doing work, or possibly as morning music as they come in. Like, I can't stress how useful this app is. And I think normally it costs like $60, $70, but you guys get it free for a year as an educator. So that's pretty great. This is my favorite website to use in school. This is a website called Newsround. It's a news show offered by the BBC in England. What separates it apart is that it's a news show specifically aimed at children. I can't tell you how useful Newsround has been during all of this COVID crisis. I remember when we were still in school, my kids had an awful lot of questions and some that I didn't know the answer to. But fortunately, Newsround were doing a kind of like a Q&A session where we could send in questions and they were going to get experts to answer them. So I think one of the questions, a boy in my class was really worried about his dog, saying, I don't want my dog to get ill. I don't want my dog to get hurt. So we sent that question in, and then we had a expert veterinarian come in and calm his fears and make him feel a lot better. I also really like this because it gives your kids a global perspective of the world. It doesn't just focus on one country, it focuses on issues affecting children all over the world. And I think that's really important for kids to know that it's not just them in this classroom or in their family or in this country, it's kids all over the world, and they can have shared experiences as well. I think this is the last one, last website that I've got. This is Cosmic Kids Yoga, cosmickids.com. This, I think, is going to be really useful as we come back as well, especially for those teachers that won't be able to get outside because maybe all they have is playground equipment and we can't use that right now. This is great for exercise when kids are unable to get outside. They have 10, 15, 5-minute videos of different yoga exercises for the kids to do. They're all based normally towards some kind of story. So my kids love learning and reciting the stories, and they're popular stories as well. I think she's also done deals where she's got like a Star Wars story and an Indiana Jones story, but through yoga, which I think is pretty cool. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. This is the one that I use the most. Flipgrid. Flipgrid is my most favorite thing to use in class because its possibilities are limitless. I can't tell you the different amount of things that I've used Flipgrid for because I've used it for so many different things. It's an incredible resource for in or for out of the classroom. Purely academically, it's a really good resource that lets a child hear themselves read so they can understand the mistakes that they're making. It lets them present a concept in their own words for mastery. It's really good for practicing phonics because you can see them make the sound. They can see themselves make the sounds. Flipgrid has no bounds in terms of its possibilities. When we were out for COVID and we were meeting weekly via Zoom, I was setting my kids Flipgrid challenges all the time, and they were always responding with different challenges. And it's so easy to set up and use. And so I definitely recommend that. A couple small tiny ones that you can use as well. White Rose Hub, that has whole schemes of learning for math. So that's good for your regular setting classroom, but also for any AIG children and any EC children as well. AIG being, I think they call it gifted and talented in England. So those children that are looking to go to the next grade, they've kind of mastered the curriculum in their own grade, and EC children for those that maybe haven't quite reached that grade yet. Pear Deck's really good. If you like to create Google Slides for your presentations to show in class, Pear Deck is a kind of like an add-on that will make your slides interactive, so kids can like add in suggestions, they can vote, they can chat in real time on the slides. So that's really good for getting feedback. Twinkle is a website alternative to Teachers Pay Teachers. I don't want you guys to ever have to pay for stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers. Twinkle is a website with lots of free resources where you can get lots of the similar things. Padlet is a online board that kids can use and you can use for sharing ideas. If you think about kind of making like a board in class with a marker and pen and the kids all coming up, this is the same thing, but they can all use it online, and you can have it there and then you can beam it straight out to their laptop, so they've all got it there as well. And the last one, ReadWorks. This is a really useful one for not using so much paper. This is a site where, again, you sign up as a class, but you can set, you know, as many reading articles as you want for your kids, and you never have to print off any more, which I think is great, because in third grade, oh boy, did we print an awful lot of paper. Cool. So I'm gonna leave you with this quote before any questions on that. I had a couple of quotes that I was going through, but I felt like this one was the one that kind of resonated with me the most. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. It's John Dewey, a philosopher from the United States. Technology is progressing at such a rate now that you will already see your kids being so adept at using it, and I really think that we should embrace that in the classroom. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. I would especially like to have followers from all around the world. My kids absolutely love it when they see other people from around the world have discovered and liked their stuff. And I would love to connect with anybody from around the world. So that's that. Thank you so much. Let me unshare my screen.
Thank you, Jake. Those were some really phenomenal resources that I'm sure if anyone out there hasn't tried them yet, they're probably eager to get out there and give them a try. And that was really fun that you let us all engage in that quiz too.
That's all right.
Give us a little feel for how we can use it. That's good. Well, as you were speaking, there were a few questions that were rolling in the chat box, and
okay.
You all can feel free to keep typing them in there. We'll also give you an opportunity to unmute yourselves if you just want to verbally speak your question. I did notice someone asked about which of the apps that you shared are free.
They're all free. All free.
All free. Okay.
All free. I am the biggest believer of you never have to pay anything to do your job, and you shouldn't have to pay anything to do your job. I will never ever peddle anything to you that costs money. It's all free. But yeah, I'll answer some of these questions if that's okay, Lindley.
Yes, absolutely. I saw another one about the applications that you shared. Could they be adaptable for pre-K students?
Some of them, definitely. I think a lot of like quizzes comes with an iPad app, so that's much more user-friendly. Cosmic Kids Yoga, there's definitely things there for pre-K there. And Reddit, that's for you to use and find things for pre-K students, so that could definitely be used. Cecilia, I was a third grade teacher, so I was using all of these apps in my classroom. The best one for you to train your kids for, I would say, would be Flipgrid, because then you can get instant feedback from your kids. And especially in times where you said that you're all virtual, this gives you a chance to see them and your kids a chance to see you. So I think Flipgrid's really good for that. Yes, Quizzes has a read aloud option. You can chuck that on for any kid that needs it, and then you take it off again when they don't need it. It's great. Prodigy's awesome. I love Prodigy. Like, my kids would come in and be like, oh, like, I was on Prodigy last weekend, but you weren't on Prodigy, and so we couldn't take this monster down together. So I liked that. That's cute when you catch them learning without even knowing, and you're like, haha, suckers, you guys learn, which is great. They're all free, like I said. Yeah, they're adaptable for pre-K.
Do you know the website for Prodigy?
Yes, it is. Let me. So for you to make your own, you just need to go to prodigy.com, and you can sign up for a kid to use it. You need to go to play.prodigygame.com. I will put those in the chat just here. Play.prodigy.com. No, prodigygame.com. And yeah, free for middle school, free for anybody. Mary, anybody can use that. In Colombia, there isn't connectivity in different places. Websites can we use with WhatsApp? Well, if you can use WhatsApp, you could definitely use most of the apps on that I've listed here. I know Quizzes and Flipgrid and Reddit all have apps, so all of those three things you can use. If you're able to send a message via WhatsApp, you should be able to do the same thing with Flipgrid and Quizzes.
Jake, are you familiar with RazKids? We have a question
I haven't heard of it.
Asking your opinion about that one.
I haven't heard of it, so I don't know it. I'm sorry. RazKids. I'm looking up now.
Anyone else out there familiar with RazKids? Feel free to pop in and let us know if you have some experience with it. Meredith, do you have a little?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I do know it. My cousin actually uses it. He uses it because he's doing dual language English and Spanish. So that's a good website for English and Spanish. But yes, I think at some point you do have to pay. That's the reason I chose Reworks, because Reworks is a free app. Do you know of any tech for blended/online reward systems? Oh, I do. You can use, I'm going to forget the name of it now. I'm sure somebody knows the name. You get like those little monster characters, those little bug things.
Is it Class Dojo?
Class Dojo, that's it. You can use that as online reward systems, so they can get points back and forth. Yeah, Class Dojo, that would be a good one for that. I don't know, to be honest, like, there's also another app called Marvelous Me, which works a similar way, but the parents download that app, free again. Parents download the app, you kind of have the whole class engaged, and you can kind of send high fives to the parents when your kid's done something awesome. I used that in England. That was a good resource as well. But I think Class Dojo probably works better for the blended online. Oh, Wonderopolis is really good. Yeah, I like that. I think I was going to include that at some point, but I forgot. Wonderopolis is a website full of things that kids wonder, and so they can look on there and see things that they wonder, and that's another good writing prompt as well. Oh, and the other thing is, I don't want to take any credit for my Google Slides, because I mean, I made them, but I didn't like make this format and template, because like I said, I'm a big believer in finding it online first. Slidesgo.com. Oh, let me get that to everybody. Slidesgo.com to get really cool templates for your Google Slides. because I could not create those things on there, but they look good. So you can pass them off as yourself.
Well, we certainly love this idea of saving trees and engaging students in interactive ways. It makes sense for the type of learning that we have coming our way. And regardless of whether it is in a regular classroom or if it's at home learning, these are good techniques for us all to be able to use. So we definitely appreciate everything that you've shared with us so far. And I know that we'll be able to share all of these resources with you all. So we can definitely keep this conversation going in our discussion chat, and we can keep sharing these different applications that, that we found useful out there. But does anybody have any other questions for Jake while we have him live?
Lily, there's one from Samuel in the chat.
Oh yeah, do you know of any app or software to explore modeling for mid or high schoolers, like a physical science concept? Samuel, YouTube is your friend. That it will be on YouTube. You will be able to find it. And if your school district does not allow YouTube, you can use a website called Safe YouTube, which is the same thing but blocks out any adverts, and that's normally unblocked on websites. Do you use anything for device monitoring? Well, my school has, oh, and thank you, Martha. My school has a thing called, I don't even remember what it's called now. I'm trying to get it up. My school has something called Land School, my district. I'll type that in the chat. That might be something that you want to ask your schools about, because Land School basically gives you a picture of all the other kids in your class's laptops. You can blank screen everybody, you can make them look at one screen, you can freeze their screen, you can send them messages. So Land School is definitely something. How do you train your kids at the beginning of the year? We will be starting with distance learning. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Like I said, I was fortunate enough that you know, last year I didn't have to do it from distance learning. What I will say is Flipgrid is your friend for that, Katie. You can create Flipgrid videos where you share your screen, kind of like how I'm doing right now, and you can do tutorials to use all of these websites. As soon as you know how, you can create a Flipgrid tutorial showing any kid how to use any of these websites. Adriana, which websites are used to work through WhatsApp? Yes, Adriana, you can use Quizzes, Cosmic Kids, Yoga, Calm. What was the Prodigy login again? You have to go to Prodigy. In fact, let me just double check that. ProdigyGame.com. Yeah, you're going to go to, if I can get the chat back up, prodigygame.com. You create a class, you put them in, and there you are, you're ready to go. Yes, I totally agree, Diana, that social emotional learning is crucial. That's my my biggest thing about me teaching. I think that social emotional learning is as important as academic learning, so I always try and push that, especially now. Maybe you can visit the discussion after your session and share these links to everybody. I can totally do that.
That's a great idea, Michelle. And I know Jake already put his handle in here for his Twitter page, but that's something else I want to recommend to you all. I know I follow Jake on Twitter, and especially during the school year, when he has kids and everything's in session, he's constantly doing new things in his classroom, and he's tweeting about them. And it's
if you
really
want to talk about, sorry, Lindley,
go ahead.
If you want to talk about, like, we were talking earlier about something to use online as like a behavior management tool. I use Twitter all the time as a behavior management tool, because I don't put, you know, I'm tweeting all the time, but I'm only ever tweeting the good stuff. So the kids have to produce good work for me to share it on Twitter. If I want to, you know, like I used to say to them, hey, like, who wants to be Twitter famous? And so they're all like, I want to be Twitter famous. But they can only be Twitter famous if they do good work. And then they love, I have followers from like Australia and from England and from South America. And so they absolutely love knowing that their piece of work has gone all around the world. They love that. So that's a great behavior management tool.
Great ideas. Very, very motivating. So check him out and connect with each other too. You all are out there doing amazing things, and this is a great way for us to be able to learn from one another and keep this learning going well beyond the summit. Any other questions? Anyone curious about any other applications or any other things that Jake does in his classroom? I can see a lot of appreciation in the chat, Jake, for everything that you shared.
See that. Thank you. I'm working on taking compliments. Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm not very good at that.
All right, everyone. Well, I am going to actually share my screen with you all for a moment, just to share a visual of some ways that we can keep connected. And if any other questions pop up into your mind, please feel free to put those into the chat box and we can come back and address those. So to keep connected, we have this wonderful community for you all. And if you're not already a member, we highly encourage you to come on in here and join. So you'll notice when you come in here to this United We Teach community, there's a little gray bar here that will let you know that you are indeed a member. So if on your end it doesn't show up that you are, you can click on that and become a member really easily. And it's free and it's a fabulous spot for us all to just keep connected at any time. And we have a variety of different things in here that will support you during this summit in particular. I think a lot of you have heard already about a reflection that we have. So at the end of the courses that you're taking here, or the different sessions, if you pop in here to this course, we have a reflection for you, and we ask that you just share some feedback on what your thoughts were on these sessions and the summit overall. And at the end, once you submit that reflection, this will allow you to earn a digital badge. And there's also information in here about continuing education units. If you are interested in acquiring any of those, you can go on in there and get some more details about that, as well as a person of contact to find out more information. Another thing that we have for you over here on the left-hand side is discussions. So you'll notice that when you click on this, we have a variety of different folders here that are all titled with some different things. So we encourage you to look through here and find topics that you're interested in. The ones that are particularly related to the United We Teach Summit are all housed here. So this will be a great spot that I'm sure Jake will come on into, and he can list off all of his strategies. If you attended Callum's session earlier this morning, you can find some things from him. And any questions that you might have that extend beyond the course of this session or the summit overall, you can always come in here and pop in those questions, and someone will definitely be here to answer them. And what's more, it's a great way for us to all just keep connected. So we highly encourage you to get in here and keep sharing, keep connecting. And then the secondary place that we can all keep connecting is also on Twitter. So that's all we have for you now for this particular session, but we have some more great ones left to go this afternoon and for the rest of the week for that matter. So thank you all for coming. And Jake, thank you for your wonderful session. We really appreciated it. Fun way to spend our afternoon here. So anyone have any final thoughts? Or Jake, let me hand it over to you as well if you have any final thoughts before we close out.
No, I don't. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm in the presentation tomorrow. Arsenal are playing about 3 hours, so if anybody could really wish for Arsenal to play well today, that'd be great, because I'm a long-suffering Arsenal fan. Thank you very much.
Well, that's a good plug for tomorrow's panel. If you all haven't already signed up for that, we have a panel where you will be able to see the fabulous Jake Roberts again, as well as 2 other of our 2020 Participate Learning Teachers of the Year. So they'll all be there ready to share their wisdom and answer questions, and it'll be a good time. So that's happening tomorrow. So we encourage you to sign up for that, and we look forward to seeing you there or at other sessions throughout the day and the week.